Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shail Bhatnagar. Well, the March F&O series ended on a positive note for the Nifty. We did see the index closing the series with gains of 344 odd points. Now, this turned out to be the fourth positive F&O series for the Nifty in the last 5 months, and the April F&O series now begins for the Nifty. It's also the start of the new fiscal year and a new quarter as well. A whole lot to really look forward to. The RBI's monetary policy outcome will be keenly awaited on April 5, and the 7th-phase Lok Sabha elections also begin in this series starting April 19th. Very good morning to all our viewers and good morning to you, Shail.
Good morning to all our viewers. Mr. Dharmesh Kant is with us. Let's just go to him. Good morning, Dharmesh, and a very warm welcome to you. April starts on a fine note. The Nifty is in a trending mode, and most likely a fresh high on the index is almost a given. We'll just get in touch with Dharmesh, and with Dharmesh, Akshay Bhagwat, Senior Vice President of Derivatives Research at JM Financial, will also be joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, April is a month where today we'll be watching the auto numbers. Remember, Tata Motors has already increased its prices. We have a very strong data coming in from lots of auto ancillaries as well, and therefore Maruti, Bajaj Auto, Tata Motors in particular will be watched. Apart from that, this week is particularly tough on a lot of financial data. The monetary policy meet of the RBI starts on April 3rd, and we will have the policy decision on April 5th. So banks will be watched, and a lot of other interesting data is on the cards. It's a given. It's a given that 22,300 on the Nifty is a very strong support, and there was a range expansion that was seen yesterday. I believe Dharmesh ji has joined us. Very good morning to you, Dharmesh ji. A very warm welcome on Market Today. How do you see the first week of April? How do you see this financial year panning out? We have earnings right there in front of us. And what do you think is the sentiment on the Lal Street?
Yeah, good morning. Shali, I mean, the thing is, the sentiments are very strong, and the undercurrent, because of the liquidity which is flowing into the market, remains unabated. So I think this liquidity will keep up the market up till the time earnings are rolled out. I myself believe that Q4 earnings won't be that great as it was in the case of Q3, and some tapering in the margins are likely to be seen. So that is going to keep the upside or the ceiling limit for the markets. So 200-300 points more from there on the Nifty, maybe a momentum charge up out there. But otherwise, I do expect a good correction coming into the market. One leg of correction has been over. Then we have seen a pullback of that correction. But the final leg of the correction is still pending based on the earnings flow which has been expected in Q4.
Any two stocks that you're looking at, Dharmesh, which might outperform the broader market?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be from the defense and railway sector, where the order book has been swelling up very fast, and this trajectory is very, very conducive for both the sectors. So from the defense is HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics, which we have been repeating time and again. So any correction out there is a very good opportunity to lap onto if you have not had it in your portfolio. And the second is RBNL from the railway infra space. So these are the two companies which we think should be implemented on any declines going forward for the calendar year CY24.
Okay. Dharmesh ji, very good morning to you. How would you really look at the IT space, particularly that space has underperformed? This is the space that will be watched out for first with the kind of earnings they will be coming about. Large cap IT versus mid cap IT. Anything from this space that you will be positively watching out for?
Yeah, good morning, Sakshi. I doubt there would be any outperformance as far as the numbers outlay is concerned when the IT companies comes out with the number. And this time, I believe that mid and small cap of the IT basket is also going to underperform on the earnings trajectory. So it was more of a hope trade which has been playing out. The last 1.5 months they have underperformed, but prior to that they were good movers from the basis of from the bottom. Seeing in light the Accenture earnings which has been rolled out and they have revised their guidance downward, in Indian IT companies are more or less replicate the business model of what Accenture has been doing. So that gap is there. We have talked about this many times that AI is the thing which they have to catch on, and there's a time lag when this happens. So I think next 2-3 quarters would be difficult for Indian IT companies. But the hope trade is there, so I don't think there will be a big correction. At the same time, I don't expect a good upside in the IT companies going into next 2 quarters.
Okay, and auto stocks will be coming out with their sales data. Anything specific that you are looking out over here?
Yeah, I'm particularly looking at the entire automobile space because some softness was seen in the month of Feb as far as the numbers were concerned. Whether that softness translates further, because this is the marriage season which has kicked in, and this is March and April is supposed to be a good months for the auto companies, and they are trading at multi-year high valuation multiples. So that justification, that catch has to be seen whether the stickiness is still there or not. So these are the numbers which I will be looking into. Cement, I know they would be coming out with a good set of numbers. We have done all the dealer checks. So 12 to 15% kind of a volume growth is expected out there. So no doubt about that. And metal and mining, NMDC numbers, Coal India numbers are well known to all. So they have been pretty good. So only area which is to be looked at with a microscopic eye is the automobile companies on the two-wheeler and four-wheeler front.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have the first rates for the new financial year, the new FNO expiry, as also the new month and the new week. And I have good news for you. We have a record high on the Nifty, 22,526, 194 points higher. Let's look at the stocks that are contributing to it. The first one I want to see is Infosys. Remember, the company's got a very good news coming in from the income tax department, a tax refund over 11 assessment years amounting to 6,200 rupees, 6,300 crore rupees has been informed by Infosys to its shareholders, and that can only mean two things. One, you might just get a very strong dividend payout, and the fact that the company is now bouncing off its 200 DMA. So 1544, this is the top gainer as far as the index heavyweights are concerned, 45.95 up. And now let's look at some other stocks. I'm very keen to see what HDFC Bank is doing. 12 rupees higher, 1460. And Reliance down about 6.5 rupees, 29.65. These are the three index heavyweights that decide the tone tenor of Nifty's intraday moves. The index itself is 195 points higher. What are the other contributing stocks to this? Bajaj Finance 1% higher for you at about 1660. I just want to see what the other banks are doing. ICICI Bank 13.65 higher, 1107. This is a fresh high. How about Axis Bank? Okay, it's flat at 1048. What's on the downside? There's just one stock which is flat, that's Reliance. Let's wait for that to sort of move up. And TCS giving strength to Infosys, 1.9% higher, 39.50. Let's look at within FNO the stocks that are making a lot of sense. There's IDBI First Bank, 8.3% higher, 81.70. Banks are having a good day. State Bank of India, 5.5% higher, 794. This is very, very interesting. An uptick of 41 rupees. There is no let up on the Nifty, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's 250 points higher, 22,582. There is a huge range expansion that happened on Thursday, and we are seeing the benefits of that. I was under the impression that 22,500 will be a very, very strong resistance, but that's been taken out, and you'll see a very, very strong bout of short covering now coming in. Remember, the rollovers on the Nifty were very, very light for the month of April as far as futures are concerned. And now, because of the short covering and the fact that you are staring at earnings ahead, you have a trending week, a trending month as far as prices are concerned. A very quick view on NSE 500 stocks that are on the uptick. Tata Investment Corp 5% higher, 6656. We have Jindal Stainless 726, 4.5% higher. Garden Reed Shipbuilders 5% higher, 802. You have the likes of Kalyan Jewellers, JK Paper, Adani Par. We'll wait for Akshay Bhagwat to join us. But coming back to you, Dharmeshji, it's quite an unexpectedly strong opening. How do you see this?
Yeah, the buoyancy of the momentum seems to be very strong as far as pre-opening rates are concerned. Let's see where it materializes. But I think this may be even the top for the month of April if it opens where it is opening right now. So a pinch of salt has to be taken in while seeing these rates on the Nifty.
Right, Dharmesh, a whole host of other stocks also that are looking positive at this point. Let me just read out a few of them and then I'll come to you. IOC has signed binding term sheet with Panasonic Energy to manufacture lithium ion cells in India, so that stock's inching higher. RVNL, as was mentioned by Dharmesh, is also up in trade in the pre-opening session, 2% higher. It's emerged as the lowest bidder for 3 projects, and that's the one that's pulling the stock higher in trade as of now. Apart from this, we are also looking at stocks like Garden Reed Shipbuilders. Again, here there is news flow. Annual turnover for the fiscal year has crossed 3,400 crores, which is the highest ever for the company's history, and that's why you see a sharp uptake on this one. Macrotech Developers, that's in focus again. It's going to be acquiring 50% stake in Siddhivinayak Realties for 250 crores. So that stock's also, inching higher in trade as of now. The other one is EIH, and the company is going to be investing for 21 crores to construct a Oberoi luxury resort at Cavalossim Beach in South Goa, and you do see a 4.5% uptick on this one as well. From the pharma pack, Lupin, that's got a US FDA's nod for tablets for generic Aptiom, and therefore you do see a 2% uptick on this one as well. These are some of the stocks that are actually doing well at this point. Dharmeshji, anything specific on the pharma space that you are looking at positively? There was some kind of hints that the space is coming back after a large bit of underperformance. Any particular stocks on your radar?
Yeah, I think at the top end they have been consolidating for a while for the last 1 month or so. But the numbers Q3 was very good, but I doubt that the continuity of the same numbers would be there in Q4. Having said that, a couple of stocks which does merit our attention is one is Dr. Reddy's and the other is Cipla. I think these two companies are still, some juice left out there as far as upside is concerned on the stock price. If you match them with the valuation like Sun Pharma enjoys. Aurobindo Pharma was doing well, but there has been issues regarding it. So I would like to avoid that till that issue get sorted out. But these are the two companies, DRL and Cipla, one can look at from the trading perspective.
Right. Let's also welcome at this point in time our other guest on the show. Akshay Bhagwat now joins in. He's the Senior VP Derivatives Research from JM Financial. Very good morning to you, Akshay. Thank you so much for taking the time out. Well, the beginning of a new series, a new month and a new quarter as well as a new fiscal year. What are you looking forward to? Any particular strategies and the stocks that you can share with us?
Good morning. As far as the index goes, the positive development was the breach of 22,200. So that's a positive development if you're trading for the week or for intraday. So till this levels are respected, you can expect Nifty to breach and test new highs as it goes forward. Sector-wise, if you see the action, I think if the markets have to be strong here, then it has to be the banking space which should perform. So in banking space, it has to be the PSUs because PSUs have had a quiet month in the March series, and the thought process is that State Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, Canara Bank, these will be some of the candidates which might again see picking up the limelight in the short-term scenario. Besides this, if I were to look at, then it can be the cement pack which can be the dark horse because there has been some good traction in these sectors, and especially Ambuja Cement, ACC, Grasim are some of the names which would be on my buying list for the April series.
A very good morning to you, Akshay. And we are welcoming both Dharmesh ji and Akshay on a day when there has been a gap up as far as the Nifty is concerned. 0.5% higher, 128. 22,455 is where the index has settled. All 10 index heavyweights are in the green, of course, led by Infosys today. This 6,300 crore rupee tax refund is going to add a lot of enthusiasm on the counter. Akshay, coming to you, what are the charts of Infosys telling you? The stock closed somewhere close to its 200-day DMA on Thursday.
Yes, with the positive news flow which you just mentioned, that's one news factor which will be supportive for day traders. And secondly, now the result season will kick off with the IT names starting probably by the second week of April. So IT has been subdued, especially if you look at Infosys. It's been subdued in the last month, strong selling pressure. But now the way the rollovers pan out, I believe it's an ideal buy candidate from the risk reward payoff. Easily 1600 plus can be seen before the result day. So I would be a buyer for this trading bounce back in Infosys at 1525, possibly a gap up which it hints to. We might see levels of 1600 in this week itself. So consider buying in Infosys. Support is 1500, targets would be 1600 plus for this coming week.
Okay. The other stock I wanted to get your attention to was on Bajaj Finance, Akshay. Very, very strong run-up that we saw over the last 10 odd trading sessions. The stock now comfortably above 200 DMA. What are the charts on Bajaj Finance telling you? How are the rollovers and what is your prognosis?
Well, Bajaj Finance has surprised everyone. It's been much of a subdued counter in the last 3 to 4 months. It has risen very strongly in the last couple of weeks, and the way the momentum is, easily 7,800 looks to be the short-term target zone for Bajaj Finance, the way the charts are suggesting. Slightly overbought from a trading perspective. So if you're an intraday or a short-term trader, I might consider a small dip which would make the risk reward more appropriate for an entry. Broadly, the target areas which is working out, the projections work out is 7,800 to 8,000 for the April series. The support zone is somewhere around 7,000. So if you are holding, continue to hold. If you want to buy Bajaj Finance, a slight dip around 7150 would make it a better trade from the risk reward payoff profile.
Okay, well, we are getting the news flow with regards to the auto sales for the month of March. For Escorts Kubota first, the March sales for the company saw a dip of 16.7% on a year-on-year basis, and therefore you do see the stock showing some kind of a decline in the early morning trading session. It's the domestic tractor sales volumes that have fallen 16.7% to about 8,587 units on a year-on-year basis, and through the day we will continue to get more news flow on that one. Anything specific in the auto space, Akshay, that you're watching out for where you still have a bullish view?
In the auto space, it has to be Maruti as the top bet. It has had a fabulous rally in the past 1.5 months from the levels of 10,000. And the way the charts are hinting, there is still more room to go on the upside. So at 12,613, where it closed on Friday, possibly the upside targets can be around somewhere around 13,300 to 13,500 as we head into the April series. The rollovers have been good. Positive long bets have been carried forward to the April series. 12,000 is a good base setting up via the options data. So yes, it's a buy candidate. And the second would be Hero Motocorp from the two-wheeler space, which would be on my buy radar. Again, it's been consolidating in a range and setting up for a strong breakout above the 4750 level. Accumulation, delivery-based buying all make it qualified as a strong buying candidate at the current levels. Expect 5,000 plus levels to be taken off soon in Hero Motocorp. Buy it with a stop loss below 4550. 4550.
Okay, and there's another news that I want all the viewers to know in terms of gold prices, which are now at record high levels on the MCX. Gold is now trading at 69,487 rupees per 10 grams. This is the record level, and we are nearing the 70,000 mark as well. Even on the international, on COMEX as well, the prices are at record high levels. Dharmesh ji, how would you be really looking at all-time high prices on equity and also on gold as well at the beginning of the fiscal year, and what does it really mean for the investors who want to create a well-diversified portfolio at this time?
Yeah, seriously, Sakshi, if you look at the asset classes, be it equity, be it gold, be it real estate, even bonds. The US 10-year bond yield has cooled off quite a bit from their highs. And the US dollar index, I mean, the currency has also been gaining. So all the asset classes have been firing, and there has been a buying across the board, and maybe a diversification by the investors who are sitting on the surplus money. So this doesn't happen. This doesn't last long. But at the time being, this trend is continuing. I do think gold, if you are holding on, continue to hold it. There is no need to, sell it off, and it would be a lesser compounder than the equity asset class over say 10 or 15-year long-term period. So that trend is likely to continue. But as of now, it's a good surprise. I mean, all the asset classes are performing in the same direction. So let's wait for the divergence to happen. At the same this time, the convergence is continuing. So I'm waiting for the divergence and then to reallocate the basket portfolio.
Okay. Let's get Akshay into the conversation. Akshay, all this enthusiasm about the Nifty hitting a record high has taken the spotlight away from private banks. What have been the rollovers in that segment? Any pick that you think will outperform both its sectoral index as well as the Nifty within the private banking sector?
Shailji, from the private banking space, it has to be ICICI Bank, which may be the top candidate from the in the private banking space. If you look at the chart structure, a major part of the month in March has been spent in a consolidative range, the range being around 1090 plus minus 15-20 odd points. It is an ideal candidate which is setting up for a strong breakout. The rollovers have been positive here, though a bit dull over the prior series, but the rollovers does hint that long bets have been carried forward to the April series. I would consider this buying for a target of 1150 in the short term. The support zone somewhere works to around 1072. So the stop losses will be below my support for targets of 1150. So ICICI Bank would be my top bet from the private banking space.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the pre-open rates have now morphed into an opening quote. The Nifty for you is at 22,461. It's a 134-point gap up that's coming right there in front of you. The Bank Nifty in fine shape, 0.6% higher, 47,435. A strong uptick coming on the IT index, and that's only because of Infosys and TCS. Without a doubt, Infosys is the top performer on the index heavyweights. All 10 of them are in the green. That's a very, very big positive coming on the first day of the monthly expiry. 2760 for you, 1525. Remember, this is a bounce back from the 200-day moving average. Very strong move coming in HDFC Bank, 1464, 16 points higher. What's Reliance doing? Reliance 6 rupees higher, 2977. I also want to see what TCS is up to. TCS 21 rupees higher, 3897. It's a sea of green across the board. A very, very strong rally coming in. I think this is the right time to check the advanced decline ratio. Okay, very, very interesting. I haven't seen this kind of a move in a very long while. 1760 stocks on the National Stock Exchange are in the green, only 162 in the red. The advanced decline ratio is 10:1, ladies and gentlemen. We are in for a trending FNO expiry for the month of April. All 16 stocks are in the green. When you look at the NSE 500, about 1% higher, 467 out of 500 stocks are in the green. Let's mark the goodies today. Stocks that are hitting record highs in the first hour of trade. And needless to say, ICICI Bank will be one of those. No, not really. It's Indigo, 3589, 1% higher. Adani Ports, 1.5% higher, 1363. Siemens, the rally continues, 5483, 2% higher. The entire PSU pack, I tracked 78 counters in the PSUs as far as stocks are concerned, and only 4 are in the red. So the advanced decline ratio in the PSU segment is very high. Let's get in touch with Akshay. Akshay, anything that catches your fancy in the early trade that you'd like to take a position in?
Early trades look like it's going to be IT, which is going to support the Nifty big time. So here the top bets would be Infosys, TCS and Wipro. So these three stocks can be considered from a day trading or a carry forward perspective. Long positions seem to be built up in the first 5 to 10 minutes of trade.
Okay. A whole host of other stocks also moving in trade. Let's look at Torrent Power, that's moving up 5.5 to 6% higher in trade. Very strong move coming in on that one, of course, on the back of news flow too. And then you also have stocks like PNB Housing Finance. There you have it, 426 for Torrent Power. It's 5% higher right now. PNB Housing Finance, a very strong move coming in on this one, 7.2% higher in trade, 675. Muthoot Finance is the top mover in the F&O space as well, so it could be a finance day. Manappuram Finance 3% higher in trade. Muthoot Finance up 5.3% in trade as well. A very strong move coming in on that one. You also have some pharma names like Lupin was in news. That's up by 3.5% in the F&O space. Oro Pharma is up by 3% again. You have HAL that was mentioned by Dharmesh ji. That's up by 2.5 to 3 odd percent. BEL from the defense space is moving up. RVNL, another pick that Dharmesh ji had mentioned, 4.3% higher in trade at 2633 on RVNL. Dharmesh ji, kudos to you. You picked out those two stocks and both of them have had a very strong run, HAL and RVNL. What next?
I continue with the same basket. The themes where infra spending is high is working. So is the case with the power sector you just mentioned. Current power is running thick and fast. And this has been the scene. The order inflows in the power sector has been also very strong. So I think in the power space, one can look at, say, JSW Energy, Tata Power, and NTPC. These themes are also likely to continue in the same vein as the other place. So this is the nature of the market. This market is, very buoyant about the future, and that's the reason why we are seeing such stock price traction, which is not discounting 2 years in advance, but now 3 and 4 years in advance as far as earnings are concerned.
Okay. Akshay, to you, power space, Torrent Power, Genus Power, IREDA, all in the thick of action right now. What are you watching out for here?
In the power space, these stocks which you mentioned, yes, they are definitely on the buy radar. You can also consider Tata Power here. The charts are signaling that it is trying to get out of a range-bound consolidation which we saw in the month of March. As of now, a positive development is the break of the level of 400 in the opening trades. That just sets it up for a short-term target till 425. So Tata Power should be on your buy watch list. The support is 400, stop loss 397, target would be 425.
Okay, let's do some option spotting. The PCR will fire 22,500 Nifty call expiring on April 4th. Remember, now this is in the money because the index is at 22,500, 178 points higher. Let's see what Akshay has a view on this one. We are at 921, Akshay. Any view that you can make out on 22,500 April 4 call on the Nifty?
Yes, so the first day of the new series, and normally if you see if the trend has to be set for this April month, it has to be on the first day because that's how normally the historical data plays out. So it's worth taking a chance. We are almost at a crucial resistance zone, 500, 525, 22,500, 22,525. If this break, the next leg of momentum round will pick up in the Nifty index. So we are expecting a breakout here. Go for the breakout by targeting the 22,500 at the money call. At the CMP. If the breakout is seen, then easily targets of 22,700 works out in Nifty, which would see this option premium almost work as a doubler for you.
Okay. For those of us who had joined us on Thursday morning, we had picked up the 22,200 call at 214 rupees. Yes, the trade was vacated somewhere like 270, 280 rupees. But the beauty of that option is now visible in front of you. Despite a 3-day decay on time, the 22,200 Nifty option is now trading somewhere in the vicinity of 341. So that's how options are sort of caught in the right phase when momentum is concerned. Let's do some good market spotting. Let's look at the volume buzzers on the index, which is NSE 500. We should pay attention to PNB Housing Finance, 7% higher, 673. And the reason is that 85% of its 5-day average has already been traded. Very strong move coming in on Garden Reach Shipbuilders, 796. I'll get your attention drawn here, Akshay. Any view on Garden Reach Shipbuilders? 1,80,000 shares have already been traded, and that's about 36% of 5-day average. Your view on Garden Reach?
Garden Reach, if I see a slightly broader charts, the weekly charts, if you see the current placement of prices, it is at a vital support zone of 750 since the last few trading sessions. And we are noting some good positive buying or demand interest around the levels of 750, 760. So the risk reward payoff is extremely favorable to take a buy trade at the current zone. Positionally, if there is a rebound, you can see levels of 850 plus, 850 plus in the short term scenario. So yes, consider buying Garden Reach shipyards at the current market price. Support zone is 750, target area would be 850 plus.
Okay, the market seems to be stabilizing as of now. What's really interesting is that in the NSE 500, amongst the most active counters is Geo Finance, 361, 2% higher. Akshay, this one is moving with volume. Your view on Geo Finance?
Geofinance, the chart structure is very strong. Even if you look at the last few days where there was some mayhem in all the financial services company, this was one counter which stood out, held its ground very strongly, and every dip was been bought into. So broadly, the charts are very strong at the level of 361. Positional or targets from 1.5 to 2 month perspective work out till around 475 to 500 in Geo Financial Services. Consider buying this at current market rates, even at slight dips of around 350, make it more attractive for a buy position. Accumulate for targets of 475. Give this trade some time. Support area is around 330 odd levels. So a positive view which I maintain on Geo Financial for targets of 475 plus with a time frame of 1.5 to 2 months.
Okay.
Okay. Dharmeshji, would you have a view on Geo Finance?
No, it's too early. So what we have decided to wait for 2-3 quarters before taking a firm view on geofinancials. I mean, till the time the business pans out in a desired way.
Right. The metal space is taking it away. If you look at some of the top movers on the Nifty, it has to be JSW Steel, that's now up 2.2%, Hindalco, Tata Steel, they're all moving up with strong surge at this point in time, 1.5 to 2% higher. Hindustan Copper is moving up very sharply in the F&O space, 5.5% higher in trade. You also have Nalco that's doing very well at this point, 2.7% higher for this one. Akshay, first to you on the metal pack, how are you looking at this momentum, and is this going to be sustained? Where should one be putting in fresh money?
Yes, the momentum definitely is, it looks to get sustained and get stronger as we move into the April series. This momentum started off somewhere late February, March, and the way some stocks are reacting, especially top buy candidates would be Hind Copper. Major part of this stock was spent in F&O ban for the March series. This is a very strong buy candidate trying to break out of its consolidation range of 250 to 300. The attempt looks more successful this time, and a break of 300 should see targets of 330 to 340 very soon. So Hind Copper is my top buy candidate in the metal space. JSW Steel, that's another counter here, which is again on the verge of a short-term breakout, which stands around 850. A break of 850 triggers the next round of momentum for targets of 900, which would be achieved very soon in the month of April. 820 is a good support zone for JSW Steel. So JSW Steel and Hind Copper would be my top bets from the metal space.
Okay, Dharmeshji, would you have a view to share on the metal pack?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time that metals have not caught up with the frenzy which is there in the equity market on the international scene. Domestic metal space has been doing quite well, led by the domestic infra demand. And this disconnect cannot continue for too long, because if you look at US GDP, it's been catching up fast. Even the fourth quarter GDP was revised to 3.4% from 3.2. Expectation is that this year itself they will give a 2.1% GDP growth, with their real estate and construction activity also picking up. And if you look at metal prices on the international scene, they are still 40 to 45% down from their peaks, which was made 2 years back. So a lot of catch up to carry. Last year also was a negative year. So I do think metals as a basket is now in for a good trade. Any declines out there should be bought into. Anyways, we are playing out infra, and without metals, infra cannot take off in our desired way. So this is a basket to look at too. Tata Steel, JSW Steel, and Hindalco are the topics out there.
Okay, so that's as far as the metal pack is concerned. The finance space is again gathering pace. Apart from Muthoot Finance, Manappuram Finance, we've been discussing. Shriram Finance is now picking up pace, 1.8% higher for this one as well. This rally started with Bajaj Twins coming back in flavor, and of course now we have a whole host of other names taking in the front row. Dharmesh ji, first your view, and then I'll take Akshay's view as well on this. Shriram.
I mean, all the financial, Shriram is primarily into the commercial vehicle finance business. All the financials have been doing well. And the earlier correction was led by the belief or the thought process in the market that this time around there will be some slippages as far as the asset quality is concerned. So that has not gone away. That would be only, come to fore once the numbers are being announced out there. But going by the market momentum, that FOMO feeling is there. So that catch-up rally is playing out there.
Okay. Akshay, would you have a view on Shriram Finance that you can share with us?
The positive development for Shriram Finance, as I see, is the inclusion of this stock in the Nifty 50 from 28th of March. It was a bit of momentum. If you see the last few weeks of action, a range of 2250 to 2500 is where it's been trading in. The current bounce back as a trader is you target 2500. That's your short-term target. My sense is 2500 too also will be broken on the upside, and targets of 2650 looks more probable in this month of April itself. So buy Shriram Finance for targets of 2650 plus for the April series. The support zone is 2300. Stop loss below the support, target 2650. A positive view on Shriram Transport Finance.
Okay, we are now at almost 9:30, so the first 15 minutes of trade is right there in front of us. The Nifty at the moment is consolidating around 22,500. Remember, the first resistance on the cash Nifty is exactly at 22,507. Let's see whether it overcomes this or not. But the tone and the tenor and the granularity of the market is extremely bullish. If you look at the FNO space, we track 182 futures for you. Out of 182 futures, the advanced decline at the moment is 172 in the green and just 10 in the red. So you can well imagine how strongly the bulls are playing on the front foot. Metals, in fact, every single sector that you look at is in the green. The gains are anywhere between 0.4% to 2.2%. Metals, of course, leading the pack. JSW Steel, Hindustan Copper in particular, National Aluminium, Vedant, all showing very strong traction on the first day of the FNO expiry. What else is moving? I think this is the right time to catch Bombay Stock Exchange. Akshay, coming to you on Bombay Stock Exchange. This is at 2607. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a fresh high for the stock, which has rallied for 4 plus 3, 7 days. Akshay, would you chase this momentum?
Well, as a day trader, it is at a very vulnerable point of profit booking, 2600, 2620. In the last couple of instances in the last 1.5, 2 months, have seen some profit booking once these zones are tested. So as a day trader, I would be a bit careful taking a fresh entry at the given levels. Broadly, from a positional perspective, the targets are pretty big. This is just a consolidation phase, and the positional targets, if you are a holder, long-term investor, work out easily at 3200 plus. So yes, as a day trader, wait for slight dips whenever you get around 2500 would be more comfortable from my sense. If you're holding the stock, the targets are pretty big. Continue to hold for much bigger targets.
Okay, the other stock that needs to be mentioned is Indigo. Remember, normally I do not chase stocks which have rallied for 5-6 days. But the fact is that a trending week and a trending month has started on the first day of the FNO expiry, and outperformers need to be tracked. Look at Indigo's stock price. It's rallied very sharply, Akshay. And this is despite the fact that crude oil prices are now at their highest since November of 2023. So a 5-month high, and despite that, Indigo is blooming on the charts. First you, Akshay, on the technical view, and then Dharmesh, if you could comment on Indigo.
Technically, it's in a very strong phase of momentum, but from a fresh entry perspective, it is highly overbought. Last 4 days have been phenomenal, or a one-way run from 3250 to 3600 almost. So a slight dip would make it more vulnerable. A good risk-reward payoff. 3500 would be a good buying point, slightly on a dip. If you are holding the stock, still there is room for upside. 3750 would be positional targets. So yes, hold for 3750 if you're a fresh buyer. Wait time the trade with a slight dip of around 3500. Broadly, the targets are 3750 in Indigo from a trading perspective.
Okay. Let's shift gears. Another space that's looking positive is the entire sugar space. So stocks like Bajaj Hindustan, a very strong move on this one, 4.5%. You have Sri Renuka Sugar, again that's up by 4.2%. You also have stocks like Balrampur Chini, that's up in trade as of now. The entire pack looks positive as of now. Let's also pull up some more stocks from this basket. So Dalmia Bharat Sugar, we can just look at Awadh Sugar at this point in time. All of the space stocks are actually buzzing in trade. Any trade over here, Akshay, that you'd like to carry forward?
Balrampur Chini has exposure in the futures and options segment, and most of the sugar stock you name, most of them, almost you can say 80% of the sugar stocks have been in a dull phase. The volumes have been dull. Today's the first day where some real good uptick has been seen. Most of these stocks are at the base of their on the charts, that's support base, and offer a good risk reward payoff if you take the trade of buying at the current levels. For Balrampur Chini, the support is around 355, 369 is the current rate. If you buy it and the stock rebounds sharply, your target can be as high as 415. So yes, consider buying Balrampur Chini at 369. Your stop loss is below 355. Target area would be around 415.
Okay, so that's the sugar space getting sweeter for all our viewers right there. You can keep an eye out on this one. Metal space definitely shining bright in trade today, 2% higher, the top moving sectoral index, and therefore you do see a slew of stocks really holding the top spot on the Nifty and the broader markets as well. The small cap space has come back pretty sharply as well. That's again up by 2% in trade today, and a whole host of stocks from this basket are doing well. Alok Industries, PLS International, Triveni Turbine, NMDC, you have Mangalore Refinery, NCC. All of these stocks are actually doing very well at this point. Gujarat Mineral. Right, Akshay, anything from the small cap basket? We did see a comeback of sorts, strong move, steady move from both the mid and the small caps last week after some kind of, some consolidation, a little bit of correction from the top, whatever you may call it. Do you think this space has enough and more to be carried forward even now?
Yes, so my understanding is most of these picks will offer you a good return from short-term trading perspective. Now with the elections kicking off from 16th of April, most there will be volatility in the markets as we move and get closer to these dates. But from here on, if you want to time a good trade, small caps, mid caps still offer a good trade because the risk reward has become beneficial, especially after the correction, the sharp fall which we saw in most of the names last month. So NMDC here, at 208 is offering a good risk reward payoff. 200 is a good support. It is in the process of charting a short-term support base around 200. Momentum once regains can see the stock targeting around 235 to 240 on the upside. So yes, a strong buy candidate at the current rate. Stop loss below 200, targets of around 230.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to the options part that we do on the segment. We'll again focus on the 22,500 Nifty April 4 call. The good part is that the first resistance, which was at 22,507 of the Nifty, has been taken out by the bulls. Let's see if we can show this one on the screen. Yes, this is the call that we need to be looking at. This is something that now comes into action for two reasons. One, the resistance has been taken out by the bulls, and the fact that it seems to be showing signs of a trending day as far as markets are concerned. The Nifty in the cash part is now almost 200 points higher, 22,519 for you, and all segments within the Nifty are now moving very, very rapidly. Let's look at Nifty's advanced decline ratio. That will give you an idea as to how the bulls are thinking. 48 stocks are in the green, just 2 are in the red, and you will not believe the 2 that are in the red are Bajaj Auto and Bharti Airtel, both of them consolidating near record highs. Akshay, would you want to revisit this Nifty 22,500 call in front of you?
Yes, as I mentioned, it's more of a breakout candidate. 22,500 to 22,525. This is a resistance zone if you are trading for the coming week, or is important level for the beginning of the April series as well. The initial thought is that this level should break off because this is the first day, and normally the trend for the series that sets up on the first day of the new series. It is definitely a call worth taking, because if the breakout matures, this call can easily be a doubler within a very short time frame. So yes, I would be keen on buying the 22,500 call. Stop loss would be below 22,400 spot basis, and I would consider this more from a doubler perspective on the options market.
Okay, now remember, why is this a swing trade in the making? The all-time high for this call was somewhere like 416 rupees that you saw stuck in 6th of March. This is not to say that the call will reach at those levels, but the point is that the risk-reward ratio for this one is still in the favor of bulls. The other call that I'd get your attention on, Akshay, is the 1520 Infosys call expiring on 25th of April. This is trading somewhere in the vicinity of 44 rupees. It's already up 6 rupees, but something that you can offer your view on, the 1520 Infosys call.
Yes, as I mentioned at the opening remarks of my show, I'm bullish on the IT space. I'm expecting a strong recovery before the quarterly results season, which will pick up in the second week of this month. At levels of 1510, I'm looking at targets of around 1580 to 1600 before results in Infosys. So before results, your time values are not going to depreciate much. The stock will have good premiums trading, and 1520 is a good trade which you can consider from the 7 to 10 day holding perspective. If levels of 1600 are hit before 11th or 12th of this month, you can see easily level 60 to 70% gains in option premium from the current rate of Infosys.
Okay. Well, as far as the Nifty is concerned, we've actually hit record high levels in trade today. We've crossed the earlier level of 22,526. In fact, both Nifty and the Sensex have on an intraday basis touched record high levels in trade today. It came off from those levels, but definitely we did touch that level. So the beginning of fiscal year 2025 has been on a very, very strong note. Akshay, if I were to ask you, which are the top one or two Nifty stocks that you'll be betting for this entire year, which one would those be?
Nifty 50 stocks, Shriram Transport Finance is a new inclusion in Nifty 50 index, and the chart patterns do suggest that there is going to be strong rally ahead as we move into 2024. At levels of 400, consider buying this, not for short term, from a positional or a medium term perspective. Easily levels of 2800 plus seem to be in the making, looking at the chart patterns. So Shriram Transport Finance, support of 2200, targets of 2800 plus would be one of my top picks from this space. And the second trade here, if I were to look at, would be from the pharma space. Lupin would be one name which I would have on my list here. Lupin again has a good strong chart structure, has been consolidating since the last month, but the broader chart makes me believe it is heading for levels of 1900 plus if you're seeing from 2024 perspective. So Lupin from the pharma space and Shriram Transport Finance would be the top two names from the Nifty 50 in this.
Wonderful, wonderful. For all our viewers who are looking for long-term investment on the Nifty, especially when the record high move continues, two stock ideas that Akshay has shared with you. Akshay, a very strong move emerging on Hindustan Copper in the F&O action. It's now up 8.3%. It's the top mover right there. What's behind this move, and where do you see the stock headed?
Yes, so Hindustan Copper has spent a major part of its time in the FNO ban in the last month. Today, the breakout is strong. The opening trades just suggest long or fresh buying interest in the stock since opening. And the short-term targets are working out somewhere around 315 from the couple of days perspective. Positionally, 340, 350 is the target I'm looking forward to. So start accumulating, even by the current rates for targets of 340 to 350. They will be mostly the projection is for the April month itself. Your support is around 275. That's the stop loss which you should be having, and target 340 to 350 in Hindu copper.
Okay. Very, very strong move, Hindustan Copper, and the entire metal pack also rallying in trade. We've already taken views on JSW Steel. Tata Steel is also moving up in trade. You have Hindalco, Nalco, you have NMDC, Steel Authority of India now also pulling up in trade. A very strong showing as far as the metals pack is concerned. Beyond this, I'm also looking at the realty pack that's also showing some ticks higher in trade. Of course, when we talk about the fiscal year FY24 along with 2023, Nifty Realty has again topped when it comes to the performance. About 130% move is what we've seen on the Nifty Realty, Akshay. Will this record run continue, and is this a space that one should continue to have clear focus on for FY25 as well? And if yes, then any particular stocks that you can mention?
Yes, realty space will continue with the momentum rally. Every dips which we have seen, significant dips also have been bought into. Oberoi Realty would be one of my top bets in this space. If you look at this, a strong corrective action was noted last month, but this too has been bought into. So I would be keen on buying Oberoi Realty at the levels of 1489. A support base of 1400 has been set, and targets of 1700 plus seem to be in the making in the medium term scenario. Buy Oberoi Realty, stop loss below 1400, target 1700, time horizon 1.5 to 2 months.
Okay. Let's shift focus and see stocks in the NSE mid cap 100, which are moving rapidly. Remember, mid caps and small caps have been beaten black and blue over the last month or so, but the quality ones are rebounding sharply. I'll mention the record highs that we have seen. Bombay Stock Exchange, we just discussed, 4.5% higher, 2630. Oracle Financial Services, 8915, 1.6% higher. The advent of third quarter earnings from Oracle Finance has resulted in a very, very strong rally. The counter was sub 4,000 if I remember correctly, and in a span of less than 3 months it's doubled, more than doubled in fact, to now 8,900. We have from the Tata Group, Tata Communications, 2034, 1.2% higher, and Indian Hotels 1% higher, 597. The other highs are Cummins India, 3002. The counter is down a bit, but remember, we had a very, very strong rally which came in the infrastructure space in the truncated week the last phase of March, in which ABB, Siemens, L&T, AIA Engineering and Schneider Electric had run on a very sharp track. It's Cummins which is now following them. In fact, ABB is also at 6490. A decent sized bulk deal of about 1.5 crore rupees just happened on ABB. What's also moving as far as volume is concerned, it's Lupin. About 4,73,000 shares have been traded. This is about 60% of the 5-day average. At 1647, the counter is about 2% higher. Kalyan Jewelers, 443, 3.7% higher for you on a volume of 10,55,000 shares. 44% of trade has happened. The likes of Aurobindo Pharma, Petronet, Bank of Baroda and Mazgaon Dow are also rising sharply on very strong volumes as of now.
All right, let's quickly look at now wrapping up the markets. As far as the momentum goes, it's a very, very strong showing across the board. You do see a very strong move on the markets, even though the Nifty is slipped below the 22,500 mark right now. 150 points of an uptick still remains. Sectorally, all the sectors of the Nifty are up into the green. A very strong showing coming in on the Nifty media space as well. That's up by 2.2%. Metals follow with 2% uptick. Small caps with about a 2% uptick as well. Realty space 1.5% higher. You have mid caps that are up by 1.4% as well. PSU banks coming back in flavor, 1% higher in trade, and all the rest of them are sectors are hovering anywhere between 0.5 to 1% odd move coming in on that one. On the Nifty, the top stocks to watch out for: JSW Steel, very strong momentum, 3.3% higher. Apollo Hospitals, that's up by 2.2%. Tata Steel is up by 1.8%. L&T, M&M, Divi's Laboratories, Adani Ports, Tata Motors, Shriram Finance, we've discussed, Kotak Mahindra Bank, HDFC Bank, all of them up by about 1.5% each. Now, which are the top stocks? Which are the stocks on the Nifty that are actually not performing today? Some of the stocks, you have Bajaj Auto, Titan, Bharti Airtel, Maruti Suzuki, flattish with a negative bias. These are the stocks that are actually not participating in the F&O space. Hindustan Copper, clearly the top of the charts, are 8% higher. Muthoot Finance, Manappuram Finance, we've discussed this already, 4.5 to 5.5% move here. Nalco, NMDC, MCX is also pulling up in trade as of now. You also have City Union Bank. From the banking space, that's up and about. HAL, we've already discussed, that's up and about as well. IEX, that's another one that's moving higher in trade as of now. Among the top gainers from the broader market space, you do have many stocks that are hitting upper circuits. One of them that I can mention, Moltech Technologies, that's up 20% upper circuit right now. Strong move being seen on several others as well. We've discussed PNB Housing Finance, a very strong move on this one, now moving in double digits, 11.5% higher in trade. You also have Ramkey Infrastructure that's moving up sharply in trade from the broadest market index. And then you have Sterlite Technologies, GM Breweries, that's up in trade. Parsonatھ Developers from the Realty Pack, that's also up and about. Anything else worth mentioning? No, most of the stocks here are actually buzzing in trade. But what we'll do is we'll wind up the special edition, but do stay logged in throughout the trading session as far as Business Today television is concerned, as a whole lot more exciting conversations will be up and about for you. And of course, the outlook on FY25 with the respective top voices from the stock markets coming up. So stay tuned.
One of Bollywood's biggest comedy stars in the 1980s and 1990s, a Congress MP from Mumbai known for his frequent absence from Parliament during the first term of Manmohan Singh government. Govinda Arun Ahuja has re-entered the political arena after a 14-year hiatus.
2004 से 9 तक मैं था, फिर मतलब के पॉलिटिक्स में 4 से 9 था और वो 14वीं लोकसभा थी। ये कमाल का इत्तेफाक है, इत्तेफाक ये सत्य है, सच का ये 14वीं लोकसभा थी। उसके 14 वर्ष बाद मैं आज पुनः मैं आया हूँ इस जगह पे।
The 60-year-old Bollywood actor has joined Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde's Shiv Sena party. Sources within the party suggest Govinda may contest from a Mumbai Lok Sabha constituency. The star is now part of the trend of celebrities vying for parliamentary seats in the 2024 general elections. Take a look at the